Hello, this is Ash from Airlocks again, here today with a King Arms AS VAL AEG. I got this gun about a month ago from Evike. They saw that they came back in stock and I picked it up for $299. I also had gotten a coupon for $50 for 15% off, which equated to about $50. So I really got this gun for $250 off Evike, brand new. I haven't not used it yet in a game. However, I've test shot it, I've chronographed it, so I have some information on it. Of course, I've owned it for about a month now. So I'd like to just kind of talk about it. The AS VAL as a platform is not a very common sight on the airsoft field, at least around here. Let alone the King Arms VAL. I've seen a few LCT VALs, AS VALs out there. I've never seen a King Arms AS VAL. I have seen a couple SEMA AS VALs, which are the only other two companies that produce a VAL other than NPO, which are extremely rare. I've never seen one of them. I believe those are the only four companies that produce the VSS or AS VAL, which again are SEMA, King Arms, LCT, and NPO, probably in that order of quality as well, and price. However, the King Arms VAL is no slouch by any means, in my opinion. Again, I've owned it for about a month. Chronograph results. I use a 7.4 LiPo battery, nunchuck LiPo battery, which is stored in this large suppressor. It's not the worst installation of battery. How you do it basically is you push this button right there. It's actually quite easy. Just push that button in and just kind of be very careful. Wiggle the suppressor off. Got a good bit of room in there. Yeah, I use a 7.4. You could use an 11.1. However, I personally, well, let me preface. I would use a 7.4 if you intend to play full auto with full auto rules. Now, if you're semi only, then you might want to pull out the 11.1. It would handle it. I've noticed on my 11.1 volt batteries, it was double feeding here and there. In other words, like it would shoot on semi, it would shoot twice, and when I'm just needing to shoot once. So be careful of that particular issue with an 11.1. With a 7.4, it wasn't doing that, and honestly, the trigger response on with a 7.4 is actually not bad at all. I actually got pretty good trigger response with the 7.4 LiPo. And the fire rate with a 7.4 20C LiPo battery was 850 rounds a minute, which is not too bad with a 7.4. With an 11.1, it was well above 1,200 rounds. I didn't even chronograph it with an 11.1 for full auto, but it's pretty insane. And actually, with an 11.1, it was shooting so fast, it was like you would release the trigger and it would still shoot for a split second, which I believe is not a good thing. So I would stick to a 7.4 for full auto. With an 11.1, if you're doing semi only, then you'd probably be just fine with an 11.1. Next thing, it is no feeding issues at all. It fed pretty well with the included high capacity magazine. It also, you can also get 40 round mid caps, and you can also find 120 round mid caps off of Taiwan Gun currently. I don't know any other websites you can find the 120 round mid caps. You can still find the high caps on Evike. I have no feeding issues with either the mid cap or this high cap. See, the hop up is kind of like an AK. Same with the selector switch. It's like a very small AK style selector switch. But the hop up, like the AK, you pull this down or pull the charging handle back and you have a sliding style hop up. It's slightly different than an AK. Actually, you know what? it looks slightly different than the AK. Actually, I don't know if they're compatible or not. I would bet they're not compatible, but I have not taken the gun apart down to the hop-up system, so I don't know. But it works very well. Able to hop threes with no problem at all. Now the FPS out of the box was about 385 feet per second with a 0.2 gram BB, which equates to about 1.35 joules roughly, verging on a 1.4 joules, which is that's actually very good in my opinion for a field gun. I do not believe it has a quick change spring. You can access or at least look at the gearbox by taking off this dust cover, just like an AK. You push that in. I'm not going to do it because it's kind of a pain in the ass to get back on. But you push this in, this little button right there, and then this dust cover will come off. Speaking of the dust cover, it's aluminum. Same with the lower receiver. It might not be lower receiver, might not be aluminum, but it's a metal material. I don't know if it's steel or not. It seems to be very good quality. So same with the upper, the dust cover is pretty good quality. You have a rail system that's unique to AK mounts. I found this rail mount for $20 on eVike. So there's a few other ones that would probably work with this gun. It's a little tedious, but this one, I think it's a SEMA brand rail mount, works just fine. And it fits pretty solidly. The sight doesn't wobble. I would recommend this rail mount if you're looking for one. The side folding stock does fold. However, with the rail mount in, all you got to do is push this on this button. The stock will fold to the left of the gun, but it doesn't fit, or it won't lock because of the rail mount. Without the rail mount, you'd have no problem. The stock is metal. The entirety of the stock is metal. I don't know one plastic part on this stock at all. It feels like it's solid quality metal. Probably not steel, but it's nonetheless a solid quality. Of course, you got your sling loop right here on the back, and then I don't believe there's another sling loop up top. You do have your iron sights right there, your AK style iron sights, and then your orange flash hider is actually very easy to remove. There's a grub screw on the bottom. You could probably just take that out, and this orange, I guess you can call it a flash hider, will just probably pop off. What else? Oh, the fire selector system. I'd like to point this out if you're not familiar with the AS VAL or VSS. So you got your AK style fire selector. It goes from, this is fire in the down position, up is safety, but there's actually a separate fire selector. I should say this is a safety, and then this device right here inside the trigger guard assembly, or housing I should say, is your semi and full auto selector switch. To the right is semi-auto, and then to the left, if you just push on that, which is quite easy, not a lot of force required, but it will stick there. It's that's full auto, so it's quite a cool and unique design for the fire selector safety apparatus. If you want to look inside of here, this is where the mag well is. If you can see that, you can see the gearbox. Yeah, it's a silver gearbox or a gray gearbox, and you do have I believe it's a MOSFET. You might not be able to catch it on this camera, but you can see there's a electronic. I think it's a relatively simple MOSFET inside the magwell, and it works well. I mean, I have no problems. Like I said, it does double feed. Sometimes on full or on with an 11.1, and it will kind of linger with its shots using 11.1. But other than that, there's no issues that I've come across with this gun at all. For $250, I think this is well worth your money, especially considering how unique the AS VAL platform is. I believe these King Arms models have just recently been being produced again, because this was out of stock on eVike for a very long time, along with every other website that I've looked at. Now the unique feature, I shouldn't say unique, but the difference between, one of the biggest differences between this and the LCT AS VAL is the receiver, specifically the dust cover, is much closer to the real AS VAL than the LCT. The LCT model is a lot taller. I've never measured one, but I believe it looks to be about entire centimeter taller than this King Arms model. I don't know why they did that, because you could fit, I mean, it's obvious the version 3 gearbox inside of here, so they, I'm not sure why they made the receiver so tall. I mean, granted, the AS VAL's receiver is extremely short, it's extremely skinny, obviously, but you could still fit a version 3 gearbox in there. Just barely. You could actually see part of the gearbox come out. Right there, you see that kind of rounded part in the corner? That's part of the version 3 gearbox. But, so anyways, that's one of my biggest reasons I bought this version and not the LCTs. This is a little bit more realistic to the real AS VAL, which I believe is even a skinnier receiver than this model. I don't believe you could fit a full version 3 gearbox inside the 2-spec AS VAL receiver. I've never measured one, obviously, but I don't believe so. But anyways, overall, I really do like this gun. I recommend it highly. Build quality is nice. Certainly not the best build quality ever, but it's certainly solid. It won't break. You know, range and accuracy are pretty good too. There's no problems there. I have not used it in a game, and I have not shot it at anything over 100 feet, so I can't really speak too much volumes on the range and accuracy. But at 100 feet, it shoots very accurately. I use 2 8-gram BBs with it at 100 feet, and it shoots extremely accurately, no problems at all. So anyways, that's my comprehensive review of my time with the King Arms AS VAL. So yeah, I hope I see more AS VALs out there on the airsoft field. I hope everybody takes care, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.